This is Montage.
But this is their home, and they keep staying here. And no matter what is done to this hotel, the ghosts are going to live here.
Oh my God!
Our show today is about the creepiest day of the year. You know it, your kids know it. What is it?
Halloween!
There you go. Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Volappi here with quite a cast of characters. We've got a lot of spooky guests with us today who are going to take us through a whole range of Halloween topics. We have simple last-minute makeup tips for the kids, some Hollywood-style makeup for the more adventurous. We're also going to talk about what's new in costumes, how to stay safe for both kids and adults this Halloween. And we'll learn about the ghosts who haunt right here in South Florida. Does that sound spooky to you guys? Yeah, okay. But first, who came up with this idea of Halloween in the first place? Okay. Halloween started in medieval times when Celtic and Anglo-Saxon cultures celebrated October 31st as the eve of their new year, a time to usher in the darkness of winter. Rituals involving corn harvest and fire were used to placate what they believed were the supernatural powers that controlled nature, all leading to imaginative images of goblins and ghosts. Interestingly, these customs corresponded to Christian religion's All Saints' Day, a day to honor the dead. In the late 1800s, European immigrants introduced Halloween mischief-making to the U.S. This later turned into trick-or-treat. The treat usually granted and the trick rarely played. Over the years, Halloween has evolved into a celebration of fantasies of all types. More and more, Halloween is becoming a festive time for adults. It's the one day that grown-ups can indulge their fantasies and not live to regret it. In terms of money spent, Halloween ranks second only to Christmas. We all learned about Halloween as children, and it is for that reason that Halloween will always be a holiday for the young at heart. Well, as you know, Halloween is going to be here in just a few days, and a lot of kids and adults are still deciding what they're going to be. So with us now is Janice Garvey. She is a makeup artist for commercials, films, and major motion pictures, music videos, and also Carol Feiser, who I guess we'll call her subject, victim, depending on how you want to look at it. Now, this kind of makeup that we're going to do right now takes a long time, so we're going to get you started right now, and then we're going to take a look a little bit later on in the show at what the result is. Tell us what you're going to do.
Well, we're going to be turning Carol into a vampire, Dracula, today. Okay. She's going to have, you know, basic bases, her teeth, everything. It'll be complete when you're ready to see her.
But now this is professional makeup. This is not...
Oh, yeah. This is definitely professional. It's not anything, you know, that you can go buy in the store or what have you. It's all professional products, and it's for theater and film.
Okay, so this is the kind of stuff you would have to go to a professional place to buy. But
right.
You can buy it, right?
You can buy it, yes. Okay. Or you would hire a makeup artist like myself to do it.
And it normally takes a good half hour to do?
Probably about 45 minutes to an hour.
So we'll check in later in the show, and we'll be back with Janice and Carol a little bit later on to see the finished product. Stay with us for lots more Halloween fun.
The tights they was put on desperately bad.
Well, if you're like many busy parents, you're probably not completely prepared for Halloween, and the kids don't know exactly what they're going to be yet. So with us is Leah Black, who has some simple ideas and tips for us for this Halloween. Welcome to the show with all our kids here. What sorts of simple things can we do with stuff in the house?
Well, with all the kids here, we use things that we have in our drawer at home, that Mom would have, or Big Sister would have, the lipsticks, color sticks, eyebrow pencils, things that you don't have to go out and buy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see if we can take a shot of Annalee's eyes here. I love what you did to her eyes. Yep. You sort of gave her that, look over this way, honey.
That Cleopatra look.
That way, the little Cleopatra look, and Frances here, just jumping around. She's a hippie, so you put a little flower on her face.
Lip liner and lipstick and color pencil right here.
Now, Stanley is Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
And he has a mask.
Isn't he cute?
But we all know that sometimes the kids don't like to keep those masks on.
He won't keep it on.
And everything else. So what can we do to him?
Well, I was thinking we could copy this little spider and put it right here on his cheek, and then he would look more authentic.
Okay. Why don't we do that?
All right, we'll do it. We're just going to use watercolor pencils and liquid eyeliner here. here.
So what we're generally using is just the regular makeup that
We
you
would
have
at
at home.
Even this, you could use, if you wanted, you could use stage makeup, but you could also use like the liquid erase that you use for the typewriter.
The whiteout,
yeah,
and
whiteout. You
stuff
wouldn't
like
use
that.
it forever, but for a few minutes, it's not going to hurt anything.
You wouldn't use a lot, and
Right.
obviously a lot of this, all these things can be done with eyeliner and mascara and
lip pencils and
lip
color
pencils,
sticks. Yeah,
eyebrow pencils,
easy
stuff
stuff.
from home. I know sometimes too. I used to take blush and a real heavy shade of blush or eyeshadow, and you can even dust that over the face
Right.
and make them all blue or something like
Yeah,
that.
or you
right?
know, like I've seen them when they want to be a devil, you just take your red lipstick and just paint the devil on, but then you got to powder it down, or every time they touch your furniture, you know it's going to get on there. But beyond that, you use it just like you would at home. Here's a Spider-Man, isn't he cute?
There you go, that works. So you put some loose talcum powder over everything?
Yeah, or just loose face powder, you know, like you would use on your own makeup, just to settle it in to keep it from coming off on anything that you might want, you know, like around your house, your pillows and so forth. You wouldn't want the makeup coming off. Like this is dried, it's not going to come off. That's
Right.
liquid.
That's-
This is dry, it's not going to come off. But, you know, the lipstick, if you know, that could come off, so you just put a little powder over it.
How do you get this stuff off when you're done?
Well, I like to use, of course, you know, I'm in the cosmetic business, so
Of
I'm
course.
partial. I use cleanser and freshener, just like a deep pore cleanser that you use with a washcloth. And then you don't have to get the water, because, you know, when you use water, a lot of it's going to drip and so forth, unless you just want to throw them in the shower with the water.
Right.
But you could use the cleanser, even like the old Pond's cleansing cream, and rub it off and then wash it off. But if you don't have that, you know, you can use soap and water. I think you mentioned before, did you mention
Like baby oil
or something?
or-
You could do that, but you want to get it out of your pores when you're done.
If you're in a pinch.
But getting
yeah.
it off will be the easy part. It's going to be getting it on. to
Getting
keep
it on
them
and
happy.
keeping it on.
You notice
Okay.
how particular they are, even at that age. She
Yes,
wants her
they-
flower on this side of the face.
Exactly. They all know exactly what they want.
Exactly
huh?
what they want.
Well, terrific. Well, thank you for being here
Yeah.
and bringing us some of these tips. And so
We
the
had
question is now for everyone, what exactly are you going to be this Halloween? And whether you prefer beauty or beast, let's see what the well-dressed ghouls and glams will be stepping out in this Thursday.
The most popular costume, they are always the 18th century. You know, Madonna, she did a video a few years ago, and she looked like Marie Antoinette. And of course, that is the dream of every girl, to be like Madonna.
The 18th century is popular with guys, too.
The tights, they was put on desperately bad. We have a lot of requests for a thing where it doesn't exist, where is a chupacabra. Everybody has this fantasy, especially mostly the Latin people, but we don't know because nobody ever saw this animal. This is our fantasy of whatever we think is the chupacabra. The most popular mask on, let's say, in the presidential thing is John Kennedy and Nixon. Nixon is always popular. And of course, very popular, they are the like skeleton and the Wolfman and Freddy Krueger. He's another very popular. Jim Carrey, very popular still.
Of course, not everyone wants to be a monster.
If you have a push-up bra,
Yeah, then
they
it'll
give
be
you-
better, exactly. Yeah.
And if you like, we do have fishnet stockings.
Okay.
We have garter.
Okay.
We have a duster.
No, no duster.
And don't forget that special lingerie for Halloween, huh?
Yeah, that is important.
With me is Franco Coretti, the owner of ABC Costume. Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
The hottest selling thing is all this 18th century stuff?
18th century is the more requested.
Yeah.
At least in our place.
Okay.
But people, they take a little bit of everything.
And when we walk into ABC Costumes, we're renting rather than buying the costumes,
You
right?
can do both. Mostly they are rental. That is what we do. But we also have costume for sale.
Okay, if I come in on Thursday and I'm desperate for a costume and I have no idea what I'm going to be,
We will arrange something for you.
you can still accommodate us?
Yes.
Yeah. What kind of prices do the costumes range in for rentals?
Mostly they go between $35 and $85, and we have also special custom a little more expensive,
Okay.
where we usually make for opera or for show, and they return it. They are very expensive customs, so they are more expensive.
Okay. And this whole chupacabra thing, is
That
this big?
That is an invention. We try to recreate what we saw on the image, the television they show to us, and And we did that chupacabra, where I don't know if you work or not. We did only one. We see.
Okay. Well, that's terrific. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Jennifer, I'm sorry, but I have something for you.
Okay.
I think a star,
Oh.
you deserve a star.
It's better than a ghoul mask, isn't it? This is
Yeah.
beautiful.
This is wonderful, and this is yours.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much.
You're very
So
welcome.
you don't even have to get totally dressed up. You can just
No.
walk into a party very chic
Oh, I
and,
think,
and have your
yes,
little mask.
exactly.
Great.
Thank you.
Franco. We'll be right back.
And many guests have felt some presence in their room, and they look and they see this white veiled object.
Well, with all the fun and games, Halloween is certainly not without its hazards. And with us now is Detective Ted Peterson of Metro-Dade Police. He's going to give us some tips on Halloween safety. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
This is obviously a big issue every year, and I guess the most important thing is that you really have to go through the kids' candy, right?
Well, first, yes, we do. Before you bring that candy home, the kids are going to want some. So take some candy with you out on the street when you're trick-or-treating. So if they get hungry, they don't have to eat that candy in the bag there. So when you get home, you want to look at that, inspect that candy.
Uh-huh. And what about kids with like masks and things like that? I know little Stanley behind you.
Stanley
Stand up.
Spider-Man over here, yes,
He's-
he's-
what do you think of that mask?
We prefer them not to wear something like this. His vision in this mask is very limited. He can't even see my hand on the side of his face over here.
Right.
So we prefer that he remove this and have his face painted with some type of spider on that, like the lady was doing earlier that he had him here.
Right, or I suppose you could always, if you wanted to wear the mask,
Cut
really
them holes
cut
out here with
eye
the,
holes.
with the white is here. Cut this whole part out here, and maybe you put some white powder or something to look like to take the place of that. Would make it a lot bigger.
Plus, it gets pretty hot in there,
It
doesn't
does.
it, Stanley? A little hot in there, huh? What about knowing the neighborhood that you're in? I mean, if kids start wandering when they start trick-or-treating and go too far, you advise against that?
Well, first of all, we rather have them trick-or-treating with an adult, so the adults can tell them not to go and where to go.
Right.
And the neighbors, we promote Safe Halloween with Citizens Crime Watch. We'll promote Halloween with the Citizens Crime Watch Pumpkin Patrol. If there's a crime watch group in your neighborhood, we're promoting this through Citizens Crime Watch. So if you have a group like that, it's important to get involved with them so you know you have a safe neighborhood.
Uh-huh. And the rules for the kids should be what? You never go up to a house that doesn't have a light on?
Neither
Or?
go up to a house that doesn't have a light on, or we prefer that if you don't even know them at all. We rather trick-or-treat in your neighborhood where you know the people, and so the adults know which houses are the safe houses.
Okay. So what if you're a person at home giving out the candy and a group of, 6'5" masked people come to your door? What do you do?
Well, first of all, this is your home. You do not have to open your door just because it's Halloween. You want to think safety first before you open that door, and to look out your window or through your peephole and make sure you feel safe. And if there's little kids there and you see some adults in the background, you might feel safe. But if you see like 6 foot tall with gorilla mask and spiders and things that might make you scared, ask them, say, I think you're a little bit too old to be trick-or-treating. Would you take your mask off so I can see who you are? And if they give you a hard time, you tell them immediately you'd be calling the police.
So when you go home with the candy, what exactly are you looking for? You don't want kids to eat anything that's not professionally wrapped, right?
Most definitely professional. Each candy should be inspected individually. You should take the kitchen table, take everything off the table, spread it all your candy, and look at each one individually that has a brand name on it, something that you're familiar with, and it's not home wrapped at all.
Okay, and so you certainly don't want, and really you should tell people as well, don't give out fruit, don't give out those popcorn rolls
Don't give out
things like
money.
that.
Don't give out money either. We don't prefer that you don't give out money because the house gets a big reputation right away. Oh, that house is giving out money over there, and everybody will congregate to that house there. So
Okay.
we rather prefer you give out professionally wrapped candy from a store that's a brand name.
Uh-huh. So, and just looking around at these costumes, does everybody look like these are all pretty safe costumes,
These
right?
are all pretty safe here. The only one that we had the problem was with the mask here on little Stanley the Spider.
Okay, so you always advise to stay away from the masks, even those plastic
Always,
masks
yes,
that they put on
especially
in front?
plastic mask with the pull string, rubber band pull string that you get in the quick little convenience stores. Those holes are even smaller than Stanley's on some of those.
Okay, and it's just as easy to put a little lipstick and
Sure.
eyeshadow and stuff like that
that's
on the
right.
kids anyway. Detective Ted Peterson, thank you for all your tips. And South Florida is not usually known as a place to find ghosts, but you might be surprised to know that the book Haunted Houses in America includes a place in Coral Gables that it describes as this country's largest haunted house. It just happens to be the ultra-elegant Biltmore Hotel. Groundbreaking for the hotel was on Friday the 13th, and most of the ghostly activity happens in the lavish suite on the 13th floor.
This is a medieval fireplace, and there was a grisly murder here that happened March 7th, 1929.
It was the murder of gangster Fatty Walsh. He was gunned down in front of dozens of elegantly dressed partygoers when his room was used as a gambling casino and speakeasy. It's now called the Everglades Suite.
Ghosts hang around when a traumatic incident has happened in their life. They stay earthbound. They may not stay in one place all the time, but this is their home, and they keep staying here. And no matter what is done to this hotel, the ghosts are going to live here.
Today, the Biltmore is a 4-star, 4 diamonds hotel. But in the 30s, the hotel fell on hard times, and during World War II, the building became a veterans hospital. Psychics believe the hotel is haunted by at least 100 ghosts.
Many guests and have told the story of pushing the button to their floor and the elevator just going up to the 13th floor. Sometimes it doesn't even want to come down. And so they have complained to the hotel that something's wrong with the elevator, and it's probably Fatty Walsh. She's just playing a trick.
After the hospital closed, the building stood empty for 17 years, until it was restored back to a hotel in 1987 at the cost of $55 million. In the 1970s, a group of psychics conducted and tape recorded a seance in the suite.
During the seance, there was a blind man with a cane that seemed to be helping the psychics and tell them the story. I'm not making it up, because it was documented on the tape recorder that taped the seance. You could hear the tap, tap, tap coming in and going out. They were able, with no prior knowledge, to describe who the people were, that there was a witness who had run up there, and the police, of course, had that witness to verify everything. And they described the whole murder, how many bullets were shot.
A young officer investigating Fatty Walsh's murder was Sergeant Kimbrough. Kimbrough, years later, became chief of the Coral Gables Police Department. He was asked to review the transcripts from the seance.
He said, "This is unbelievable. There are things in this transcript that no one would have known, that we didn't even put in the police report."
Reports of ghostly encounters are not limited to the Everglades Suite.
A doctor from the University of South Florida Medical School. He stayed in room 711 in 1988. And what happened to him was so strange that he wrote a letter back to the hotel claiming that he was awakened at night by a man standing at the foot of his bed wearing a rain slicker, and he vanished. And he felt on the ground to see by his bed, and there was a damp spot that had been left there.
Another ghost that haunts the hotel is known as Russian Jenny, a woman who lived near the Biltmore in the 40s.
She was walking with her baby daughter out on the grounds here, and someone slashed her and killed her. And of course the baby survived, but she's still looking for her baby, and many guests have felt some presence in their room, and they look and they see this white veiled object, and they've reported this, and they feel it's Russian Jenny, after 50 years, is still looking for that baby.
The Biltmore Hotel is rich in history and becoming more and more rich with spirits, they say. Well, on Halloween night, the Miami Storytellers Guild will tell ghost stories around one of the Biltmore's Gothic fireplaces. It's open to the public, and we're going to have more on Montage in a moment.